You hear me? Okay, so for this lab midterm review session, can you please put your first and last name and your email in the chat so I could take attendance? And the format of this is we're going to be reviewing different structures. I'm going to put the structure on the screen for like 3 minutes, and then we'll review the answers together. And make sure to be writing down the spelling correctly. And if you guys are ready, we're going to start with the structure. So in the chat, just write A, B, C, D, E, F, and then write what you think it is. Because as we can see, this is part of your spine. You could also just go with the letters one at a time. So for A, does anyone know it? You could either shout it out or type it in the chat. Okay, this is a superior articular facet. And for B, what is this? This is the transverse foramen. Wait, a foramen is a hole. Let me check my notes real quick. Yeah, foramen is C. I think I switched them on accident. Okay. Okay. D is the pedicle, E is the lamina, and F is the spinatus process. Let's see what B is. Superior articular facet is B. And A is the dens. Okay, I just mixed up the letters. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, we will move on. So this is the ethmoid bone. Does anyone know what this part of the bone is called for A? Perpendicular plate. What about C and D? Yep, that's the orbital plate. Okay. I need to pull up my notes because some of these are incorrect. So A is over here. It's the crystal galley. G is the perpendicular plate. So since this is the superior view, the above view, A on this side is also, oh, it's a cribriform plate. That's not correct. These are also incorrect. These are the wings. Okay, sorry, give me a second. These notes are old. Okay, so A is crystal galley. E is superior nasal concha. And F is the middle nasal. Oh, it is. Okay. B is the cribriform plate. Cribriform plate. Yeah, D is the orbital plate. And A, since it's the superior view, You're looking from on top. This should also be the crystal gully. Okay. Now the sinuses. There's 5 sinuses. Can you write down A, B, C, D, E in the chat? So A is the one in between the eyebrows. This one is the frontal sinus. And I always remember it because it's in the frontal bone. B is what we just saw, is the ethmoid sinus. It is in the ethmoid bone. C is in the cheeks. Sphenoid sinus. And then D, it's right here. It's the maxillary sinus. And E is all the way down here. That's your nasal cavity. Okay, I think C. Sorry, I switched it up again. C is maxillary because it's right where your cheeks are. And that means B is your sphenoid. Okay. Mandible, your jaw. What is A? Yep, it's the ramus. Okay, what about B? Body. C? It is called many things. It's called inferior border, the gonial angle. It's also called the angle of mandible. Lots of names. Okay, D. What is this little hole called? It is on your chin. So think about another word for chin and another word for hole. Yep, mental foramen. Okay, for E, this is the one that means honeycomb. It has the root of honeycomb, and it's exactly where your teeth goes. Alveolar process. Okay, F. What is this hole called? It's pretty cool. All these holes here, that's where a lot of our nerves and blood vessels enter. Mandibular foramen. Nope. Okay. Now G. This is the one that I put. Coronoid process. The corona means crown and oid means like. So a crown-like process. Process is like like something jutting out. Okay, and last one, H. What is this part called? Another process. Condylar, which is like another structure that is jutting out. Okay, this one is of the skull. So on the side of the skull, does anyone remember what this bone is called? This, yeah, it's your temporal bone. Okay, and then B, the top of your head. What is that bone called? Bridle. Nice. Okay, C. Where's C? A, B. There's no C. Okay, D. What is this suture called? It's so interesting. Lambdoid suture. It's the one that creates like a lambda on your head. Okay, E. Is it pointing to this? Oh, it's pointing to. This is talking about. Oh, I see. C is missing. C is right here. C is the suture. What is the suture called? The squamous suture. Okay. And E is talking about. It's so confusing. This bit of the bone. Okay. I'm just going to skip that one because that one isn't really pointing to anything in particular. And we already talked about the temporal bone. So we're going to go to F. F is pointing to this backbone. What is that called? Occipital bone. Okay. G is pointing to this hole. What is this hole called? External. acoustic meatus. And H, this little protrusion down here. Master process. Okay, I'm gonna leave this blank. If it's pointing to here, but this thing is also pointing to it, so no, yeah. Okay, and then O, what is this suture called? The one on the top of your head. Yep. Coronal suture. Like a crown. Okay, P. What's this bone called? The sphenoid bone. What is this bone called for Q? Or nasal bone. And what about R? I always remember if you know the Spanish word for tears, that's how it helps me remember what R is, because that's where your tears come from. Yep, the cremal. And S, what is this bone called? What is this process called? Okay, this is it's specifically pointing at the zygomatic bone. And T, the one on top of your teeth. Maxilla. And U, what is the bone for you? This is the mandible. And V, there's no V. Okay. And W is the process. I mean, the foramen. Mental foramen. Okay. I didn't do N, L, and M yet. I'm gonna sneak those in. N, L, M. So what's L? They're both, yeah. Sorry, process. And M is another process. And N is when you add them together, it's called a zygomatic arch. So if you ever want to compliment someone on their cheekbones, you could say you have a nice zygomatic arch. Okay. The next is the foot bones. What is A? It is called the hallux or the distal phalanx of hallux. So your hallux is your big toe, but the distal phalanx is the furthest one away from your midline. Okay, B is your next one. And that one's closer to you. So that one is the proximal phalanx. Yep. Of the hallux. And then C is okay. Though when I took this class, my professor gave us an acronym to remember this. It is cheap, tequila, causes, naughty, love in Mexico. And it is based off of the bones in your feet. Okay, so C, this bone, is your medial cuneiform. That is true. And then D is your next one, is your intermediate cuneiform. Yeah. And then I is, I mean E, sorry, is your lateral cuneiform. Cuneiform just means wedge. Okay. And F is the really back of your foot. What is F? F is also called your heel. It's the calcaneus. And G is where your tibia connects to it, which is also called the talus. H is the the cuboid, and I, oh, it is I, sorry. I is the lateral cuneiform. Where is E? Oh, E's right here. E's the navicular. J, back to right here, proximal phalanx of all these digits. This is the third one. Specifically of digit 3. K is the intermediate phalanx, and L is the distal phalanx. M, what are these toe parts called? Phalanges. Yeah. I was like teaching the preschooler Simon Says, and now they know the word phalanges. The anatomically correct way to play Simon Says, phalanges. Okay, N is the metatarsals, and O is the tarsals. Okay, so for the metatarsals, and the tarsals. Starts with the calcaneus, okay? Cheap, naughty love cause cheap tequila causes naughty love in Mexico. So cheap is calcaneus. You're working back to front. Tequila talus. Then is cuboid, navicular, and then the lateral, medial. Oh, lateral, intermediate, and medial. Okay, so how to remember the order of bones and the names of it? Just remember this acronym. So we're here, calcaneus, cheap, tequila, talus, then cuboid is over here, navicular, and then lateral, intermediate, medial. Okay, I didn't come up with the acronym, I just learned it. So now it's the thoracic cage. And we're getting tested on this. Some of these parts are super impressionable. Like, what is A and B? A is called the true ribs, and B are the false ribs. And then C are the floating ribs. Yeah. D over here. It's this bone. What's D? It's the manubrium. Yep. And E is this jointing suprasternoid notch. Clavicle notch. Clavicular. And G is the coastal notch. H is a sternoid angle. Sterno, sternum means chest, so you could like palpate it on your chest. This angle, okay. And then J is this huge bone. That's called a body. K is this little process. You guys remember what it's called? Xiphoid, yep. I think that's a really cool word. Good word to use for Scrabble with an X. Okay, L. What are these cartilages called? Coastal cartilages. That is true. Okay, moving on. These are your back muscles. We're finally on muscles. I only took a few diagrams from throughout the entire lectures. So, what is A? If you go to the gym a lot, you should know what this muscle is. Trapezius. Okay. Trapezius. What about B? These are also called shoulder muscles. It's, they're shaped like a triangle, which is why they're called deltoid. C, what is the muscle under your deltoid? Right here. Yep, teres minor. And then what's the bigger one called? Teres major. And I transcribed it. It transcribed it wrong. Okay. E. What is this muscle here called? This is your levator scapulae. This is the muscle that gives you good posture. So all you gotta do is you gotta elevate with it like an elevator. Elevate, retract, and depress. And this helps you have good posture. Okay, G is this muscle right here. These two pairs are also a major and a minor. So the other one, this is rhomboid. Minor is the smaller one, and major is the big one. J is this tiny muscle here. What is that? Super deep. I need to zoom in to see it. This is your infraspinatus muscle. And this one right here, this one specifically is also your teres minor. Okay, K, this back muscle. Also, if you go to the gym, this is called your lats. So what's the non-abbreviated version? Your latimus dorsi. Latissimus dorsi. Sounds like a Harry Potter spell. Latissimus dorsi. Okay, L. These are the three fingers. It's a sawtooth projection in your back. Yep. The serratus anterior. Okay. I think these are our last ones for today. A, B, C, D. These are your hip flexors, your anterior thigh muscles. What is A? The psoas major. Okay, what is B? Oh, sorry, I messed it up. A is the minor and B is the major. Minor. B is the major. psoas major. C is iliacus. Iliacus. And what is D? Iliopsoas. Okay, and that is all for today. Do you guys have any questions on anything else you want to go over? If not, you are free to go, especially if you already wrote your name and email in the chat. And thanks for coming to the review session. I'll be here for the next 20 minutes if anybody has any diagrams they want to go over or need help remembering any things. Good luck on your midterms. It is due this weekend, I think the 29th, so make sure you take it on time.